This is the Heart to Heart with Statton podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another Heart to Heart with Statton podcast. Today, I would like to talk about a subject that's been on my mind for quite some time. It's one I think is very important for all of us to know about, or at least consider. I think this is actually something, if you want me to be honest, is something that we all technically know in the back of our heads, but hold on a second, guys. I'm taken aback by the map. The game went through an update, and I gotta say I like what I see here. I really do. But now to get back on subject, you see, as all of you know, sometimes we go through drama with certain people, and the one thing you want to do is learn from your past. Learn not only, even if you're not at fault for the drama, you can still learn to prevent the drama from happening. To do that, you need to recognize when the ones that are at fault claim to be sorry. You gotta understand first, there's technically four types of people. There are those who are not sorry at all, which, if so, shame on them. But I mean, and I'm talking about the ones that are wrong. I mean, if you're not the one in the wrong here, you don't really have anything to be sorry about. However, with that said, as for the ones that should be sorry, well, there's three different types of people that are sorry. When there's an argument or there's drama or whatnot, there's always going to be that person that'll either apologize because they realize, oh no, there's consequences to their wrongdoings, and if so, they'll do it to try to get out of that, to make it so there's no consequences. Which, yeah, look, to me, if you're sorry for that reason, you don't really feel genuine remorse for your wrongdoings. Now, and that's not a good thing. You should always feel, if you're in the wrong and you wrong someone, you hurt them, and you claim to be their friend, whether if it was on purpose or not is irrelevant. If you show no remorse, it shows you don't care. And if you're doing it just because you realize, oh no, this could bite me in the backside, well, that's not remorse either. That's not you being sorry for what you did or what you said. That's just you being sorry because there's consequences. You're sorry for the consequences. You're sorry for the fact that it's going to bite you in the backside. You're not at all sorry because it was wrong or anything. Now, with that said, there's another type of those who a type of being sorry, and that is saying you're sorry just so you can shut the person up, just to appease people. And that isn't right either, because that both the first two apologies that I listed off, the first two examples, one to appease and just get the person to shut up, and the other one, oh, you're sorry because there's consequences. Those are insincere. They are not sincere at all apologies. They are not true apologies, because you're not really sad. You don't really feel bad about what you did. Now, a true apology is one where, if hold on a second, guys. Okay, activity finder. Figured, why not go through a dungeon while talking about these things? Now, if you really feel bad about what you did, you should feel sorry. You should be sorry whether if there's consequences or not. That's the problem. Is too many times I've encountered people who will do something wrong. they'll wrong someone. And yes, I've been on the receiving end of that. And they will deny it. They will they'll try to downplay it, but when they realize they are suffering consequences and that they can't talk their way out of it, it is then and only then are they truly sorry. And I think the ones that, while I say this is something that we all technically know and is in the back of our minds, the fact that it's not at the front, and I don't mean when I say in the front of our minds, I don't mean this is something we should dwell on every second of every day, but it should be a common sense thing. I can't help but wonder, do the ones who are apologizing understand the difference between these three apologies, or do they see an apology as an apology regardless of the intent behind it? That's something that we all need to think about. Whenever we find ourselves in a situation where we find ourselves saying we're sorry or apologizing, are we doing it for the right reasons? Oh, hey, Tinfoil, how's it going?
Oh,
Tinfoil has decided to join the podcast. So, say hi to the viewers, Tinfoil.
hi, folks. How you doing?
You sound like you just woke up.
Close. Having a real rough infection, so it's
Oh,
not quite just.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
So,
you know what they say: what doesn't kill you makes you wish it did. How
well,
are you guys?
at least you're being positive about it.
Well, learned that from you.
anyways, uh, anyways, have you been watching any of the podcasts today? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sure. You know that thing about that thing.
Okay, well, I can give you a quick update. I can get you up to
Oops.
speed. My
All right.
okay, the subject I'm talking about is three different types of apologies that people will give you if they're the ones in the wrong, and only one kind of these three kinds is a real apology, is sincere. And I mentioned how I covered over the first one how there are some that'll only apologize when they realize there's consequences for them, that they was like, oh no, I'm in trouble, and they try to get out of it. They want to escape those consequences. They don't want the punishment. So for that reason, they are sorry. And I explained how that's insincere because you're doing it because you don't want to get in trouble, but not because you really feel bad about what you did. And then there's the second kind of which is the where you only apologize just to shut the person up. We're like, okay, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm sorry. They do a half-hearted, insincere apology. And then there's the third kind, which is the actual sincere kind, where even if there's no consequences, because you hurt someone you care about, you honestly feel bad about it. And you express it. You show remorse. That is a true apology right there. But since you're here, Tinfoil, I would like to know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there any details you would like to add to it?
Well, I would say I mostly agree, but I do have a question.
Yes.
What did you do? Because those topics don't usually come by nothing.
Why is it always something I did?
Well, it is your podcast, and you are the one that actually instigates the topics. So, What did you do?
Well, that's not always true because the guest we have on will often choose the topics, but it's not something I did. It's something I've experienced others doing. Sometimes, not all at my expense, but others at other people's expenses. And I observe, and I start to ask myself, okay, when these people apologize for what they did, why is it that how they apologize, why does it bother me so much as to how they did it? So I started thinking about it and I started observing, and it was right then and there. The reason was actually quite obvious. It's I should have thought about it at the time, but it's because if you, to me, more than half the apologies I heard are the first two kinds of apologies that I listed off, and very few of them are the sincere is the third sincere one. You see what I'm saying here? I get and this this is actually leading up to something else, but do you understand what I'm getting at with this first part that I'm covering over right now?
Well, if I understood you correctly, you're frustrated because most cases those are knee-jerk reactions, basically automated response rather than an actual thought that came with it with the apology.
Well, yeah, because the fact of the matter is, I don't see why it's so hard for people to be able to admit when they're wrong. Lord knows I admit I'm wrong a lot. I do not, unless I am foolish enough to believe I'm God Himself, there are going to be plenty of things I'm wrong on. So, why everybody acts like it's such a hard thing to admit when they're wrong? It's such a hard thing to admit when they hurt somebody. And the fact of the matter is, you even got people that when they do hurt someone, and they get called out for it, they'll try to downplay it. They'll try to treat it like it's not a big deal or full blown deny it. And when they can't do any of those things, they will then play the victim. They will act like they were the ones wrong. Oh no, not how dare you, not how dare me for what I did to you, but how dare you for calling me out on it. And then they'll be like, "Oh no, this is a I'm going to get punished. I better apologize." Okay, fine.
I just,
You apologize, but it's insincere. So, should I really be satisfied with an apology like that? Should anyone be satisfied with an apology like that?
well, no, but then again, you do realize that at some point, people, just because of how a given situation could have went down, a lot of it is perception, meaning the person that let's say you didn't accept the apologies because you felt it was insincere, right?
Right?
But how are you sure it was insincere and you're just because you're kind of hurting because somebody did something hurtful, you don't trust them that it could be when it
Well,
could.
timing's everything. You see, if someone's if someone's making you feel like garbage, if someone's has done something wrong to you and they deny it, and it's only when the consequences come that all of a sudden then and there, okay, okay, we're sorry, I'm sorry, okay, yeah, now you're sorry, but not beforehand. Sometimes you gotta put a simple two and two together, and that's how you recognize the sincerity of the apology. I mean,
Well, but then again, you also need to take into factor that a lot of people, especially young people, uh, well, putting two and two isn't exactly their specialty at a younger age, right? It comes later a little bit.
true, but
That
that's why while they're younger, you teach them to be able to put two and two together, both literally and figuratively.
and second part is that's actually well, it's it kind of actually pertains to a lot of us, maybe all of us in those kind of situations. Well, depending whether you did it or not, I'm not assuming everybody had that in the past, but pride. People really don't like to admit they're wrong, and in case of an argument and making somebody feel like an ass, sometimes pride clouds your judgment and your actual perception of the situation. You're unwittingly protecting yourself from admitting, I did a bad thing. I kind of acted like a bunghole.
Are you giving me an actual event that happened, or is this a hypothetical example right now, if I may ask?
Some, well, honestly, I can't because it was a long ago and the situation is a little bit hazy at the moment. But
Okay, well, either way, you don't have to give me details. I was just asking if you were coming up with something at the top of your head or if you were actually reminiscing. That's all I wanted to know. But I would never pressure you or force you to say anything live that you didn't want to make known. I mean,
long story short, if I can provide this as much, is basically when you perceive that somebody said something else, and for whatever case, you're basically a brain dead
hi,
at the moment.
Alderon. Sorry, Alderon said hi in the comment section. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Alderon. You shot off something, and situation ensues. No, no, I was not at fault. He said this, and this could be only interpreted in this particular case, and well, you're in this room now.
Well, here's the thing, and I tread cautiously by using these as examples because these are comedies. Whether if I should or shouldn't be watching them, I will admit, is highly debatable. But there was a, but when you talk about how there's no other way to interpret something, there is an example of an episode of that '70s show where the main characters, or I wouldn't say the main characters, but the parents of the main characters, Red and Kitty, were double dating with Bob and their neighbors, Bob and Midge, and they were bringing dates of their own. And Red's like, "So you guys are dating other people?" And Midge is like, "Well, you make it sound stupid when you say it that way." And then Red says, "Fair enough. Say it in a way where it doesn't sound stupid." And to me, that plays that's an example of what you're saying about there's no other way to interpret it. Like, well, it sounds bad when you say it that way. Well, there's no other way to say it. There's no other
Yeah,
way to
but
put it.
what I meant was actually the episode of Friends, if you remember the TV show,
Never
the
seen it, but
Ross Rachel kind of thing. We were on a break, like
what
kind of.
a break from a relationship, a romantic
Yes,
relationship.
basically, Rachel, if I recall the episode properly, wanted maybe we should be on a break. Maybe we should, right? What she meant, she wanted to be apologizing, missing her, and he actually understood it. Maybe we should actually take a break for each other, just meet other people and reevaluate, which is completely not what she meant.
Well,
And once stuff came back, and well, but you said, and yeah,
well, that's why people shouldn't speak in code like that, or try to be set. You see, uh, that's another subject I'd like to cover over a later time. How sometimes we just gotta say what we really mean and not actually beat around the bush or say anything that can be left up to interpretation, because that rarely ends well for anyone. It's a
well,
it's a huge
true, but
gamble.
true, but then again, remember also total honesty isn't exactly conducive to societal cohesive at times. I mean,
Of
think
course
about
not.
it.
We've gone too soft. We can't. We've gone too soft. We need to toughen up more and just be like, okay, well, you may not like the truth, but that doesn't magically make it any less the truth. Sometimes you, as I know this sounds like a contradiction. I don't like it when people are jerks, but at the same time, I love it when people are just blunt and say things for what it really is, because those are the people you don't really have to question.
Careful, Statton, because I actually have a question that might make you quite uncomfortable.
Go ahead. Fair
All right,
enough.
let's put it this way: are you on your headphones during this podcast, or is it like an open mic at home or car?
Um, um I'm wearing a headset here at home. Why?
Okay, and is your wife in?
Uh, in the living room.
Close the door.
But the door is closed. Where are you going with this?
Okay, dear viewers or listeners, if you will, take note of the man's reactions. What I'm about to ask him. This is going to pertain what he perceives and how you should actually could possibly take inspiration from dear Statton here about the value of white little lies. Honey, does this dress make me look fat? What do you do?
You know what the weird part is? My wife has never actually asked me those type of questions.
Which at some point means she actually might. What do you do?
Um, well, well, that's a hard one because I never been in that situation.
You're stalling.
I'm not stalling. I'm thinking. Give me a second here. I didn't say I wasn't going to answer. I think if it were me, I would say, does it matter? I love you. I don't find you less attractive.
Yeah, and now another follow-up question. How long do you suspect you survive after those words, or is it going to turn up well for you?
Well, well, you got to realize if it were anyone else, I could see where you're going with this. But the fact of the matter is, my wife seems to be a little different. She seems to understand why I say what I say and where I'm going. I mean, obviously, if I didn't love her, obviously, if I didn't find her attractive, then I, we wouldn't, we wouldn't be together. It's that simple. The fact of the matter is, I have myself. Yes, I'm trying to work it off. Um, but I myself have a beer gut, kind of. I think it's getting better, but I notice it. I notice it whenever I run around. And if any of you guys are watching the podcast, yes, I know it looks like I'm running around aimlessly. I am lost. I do not know where the others are. Oh, hold on a second. I think I might have found them. Yeah, I might have found it. But anyways, my wife accepts me weight wise. Do I plan on losing weight? Yes. I don't get me wrong, I'm not heavy. I'm not heavy set, but I'm not the skinniest guy known to man. But I am working out, and my wife, well, I don't think weight bothers her any more than age does, and she's 8 years older than me. In fact, she takes pride in the fact that she's married to someone that's 8 years younger than her. She, she strangely enough embraces that. So it's like she and I are both trying to lose weight, but it's not for physical appearance. It's because we're trying to escape health issues such as heart problems and diabetes and everything. Other than that, we find each other attractive. We find each other. I find her beautiful. She says she finds me handsome. What? With that said, why would we focus too much on it?
I wouldn't say it's being focused. I'm being saying it's at the moment because depending on when the question pops and how the person asking it is feeling at the moment is what do you do? Let's say she had a terrible day, that she's feeling down some, and she needs a compliment, something to pick her up, like something just, that one good word to hear. And she's trying off her clothes and, you know, honey, does this make me look fat?
Except for she doesn't ask what she will ask it in the form of a question. She'll actually state it like it's an indisputable fact. She'll be like, "Oh, this makes me look fat," and I'm like, "Stop that! You look
Yes, but
beautiful."
yes, but that's actually either eliciting a compliment or you perceiving it as such. What I meant is when she asks legitimate question with ended with a question mark to you, does this dot dot dot?
Well, if she's obviously, I'd have to say no, and it would be true because to be honest with you, she she isn't fat. I mean, we both aren't exactly sticks, but
That
we're not ignorant of that.
that's not what I'm saying, Statton.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, I'm kind of skinny at the moment, but there are certain clothes in my wardrobe which I actually don't drag out anymore because of, well, the same reasons why would that question be valid? Some of those make me look like a freaking Santa. So yeah, you don't have to be fat for the clothes to make you look fat.
Yeah, I never really thought about that before.
And remember, just because somebody's not fat, maybe they're feeling fat, maybe they're feeling not attractive at the moment because, as I said, rough day or whatever. I mean, you could ask uh, uh, your wife, honey, do you still think I'm young and attractive to you when you had a bad day and you're feeling tired and you just had something snap in your neck or at your back?
What are
And
you
she
talking
says,
about?
no, honey, I've seen your mileage.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about that sometimes you need that white lie just to, well, let's say help a little bit. That's what I meant.
Um,
And sometimes total honesty, because that's how the entire subject originated.
but that's the thing. Every compliment I ever give her is not a white lie. It's
Yes, and it's admirable, but sometimes blunt honesty has a tendency to backfire even despite the best intentions. That's what I meant.
I guess I'm kind of different. I think it's largely due to the fact that I've just grown so tired of walking on eggshells only to be viewed as the bad guy anyways. And I'm not talking about my wife on this one. I'm actually talking about other people. It's like I don't beat around the bush. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I will be honest. Not now, with that said, you got, and we're spending too much time on this considering what the subject's supposed to really be about originally. But the fact of the matter is, beauty, there's a reason why the saying goes, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You see, what other people may view as unattractive does not affect my opinion whatsoever. I don't base there I can honestly, I've seen beauty where others claim that they have not.
Look, let's put it this way. If it's hot, it's hot.
That's
What?
debatable. Some of the celebrity women that guys find hot and find attractive really don't affect me, and that's not an exaggeration. It's
No, you misunderstood me. If it's hot, like the person's hot, it's
yeah.
she's hot. If she's hot to you, then she's hot to you. She's hot.
Okay, so you're talking about perspective, not in general terms. Okay, now I
Yes,
get it.
if she's hot to you, doesn't really matter who else and what else thinks about it
Uh,
because usually when those questions is between what you think between the two persons that matter.
Absolutely. So, but we got so the thing is,
We getting back to the apologies and sincerity of those apologies because that's how it started and began.
right. I'm not. I'm gonna have to rewatch this podcast to see how we transitioned from that to this. But the fact of the matter is, it's it's like there has been there's a one guy I used to work with, and I don't anymore now that I'm not in sanitation in the warehouse I work at now, but he was one of those he's one of those guys that he'll either like you or he'll dislike you, but here's the thing, if he doesn't like you, he'll even admit he doesn't have a reason. He just chooses not to like you. And I'll never understand that kind of logic, but he would treat me like garbage and everything. And well, after going through that, one of my other coworkers, who actually is a friend, she asked me an interesting question. She said, would you want something to happen to him? Not harm wise, but like, would you like him to get in trouble? Would you like for him to lose his job or anything? And I said no. And that caught her off guard. And she looked at me kind of funny. And I said, because in the end, he would come out of it still not caring how he makes other people feel. He wouldn't care that he was a jerk. He isn't going to look back and think, well, if I had been a better person, this wouldn't have happened. So, no, that's not the kind of punishment I would want anyone to have. To me, and I'm speaking from experience, the best punishment is when you are at fault for something and you hurt someone that you supposedly care about and you truly feel bad. That guilt is a punishment that'll surpass any consequence there is. Because if you truly care about that person, you wouldn't want to hurt them to begin with or manipulate them or treat them like garbage. That guilt would be enough to show you care, and it shows true remorse. But if you're only doing it because you're getting in trouble, then you care more about yourself than you do the person you hurt. If you're doing it just to shut the person up, then it's more you find the person annoying than you actually feel bad. Now this takes me to one other point. To be on the receiving end when people apologize, regardless of why they apologize, what their intent is, if it's for the first two reasons, even, yes, you should forgive them. I'm not denying you shouldn't. But here's the thing, a lot of people will often take advantage of your forgiveness. And for that reason, it is important that you learn something about forgiveness. Forgiving someone does not mean you have to trust them. It is, in fact, possible to say, I forgive you, but I no longer trust you. They can't look at you and say, well, if you don't trust me like you used to, then you haven't forgiven me. Not true. You can forgive someone, meaning you harbor no ill feelings toward them or anything, but that doesn't mean you have to put them back in the spot where they were, where you're allowing them to put themselves back in a situation where you have to forgive them again. You can forgive fire for burning you, doesn't mean you have to thrust your hand back in the flame, because you know what will happen if you do. Forgive, but that doesn't. But as far as as far as trusting the people you forgive, that is the part that they have to earn. Don't make them earn forgiveness, because if you do, it's not true forgiveness. But as far as the trust goes, that they do have to earn. And don't let them make you feel guilty or feel like they're the victim just because you don't trust them like you used to. That's on them. They wanted your trust. They shouldn't have broken it. Do you have anything to add to that, Tinfoil?
No, I think I think it says just about right.
Oh, by the way, I do apologize, Tinfoil. I didn't mean to act. I hope that wasn't snippy of me when I was like, "Do you have anything to add to that?" Almost like I was being a jerk to you. Like, well, do you have anything to say?
No, no.
It's like I didn't mean to. Sometimes I get too into these
I forgive
subjects.
you.
So yeah, while we're here on this matter, I would like I would like to add in that I plan on doing evening podcast as well, as not just the Sunday podcast at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard still gonna keep happening every other Sunday, but I have so many subjects I want to cover over that I just can't wait. And to be honest with you, I need to get back into doing videos. I finally started the new job position where I work, and I love it. It's physically taxing in the sense that my legs and back feel sore every single day. But you know what? I don't feel stress. I felt stress in the last position I was in, or department, I should say. And between the pain and the stress, I'll take the pain. I'll take the physical pain over the stress. And, well, with that said, I plan on using the evening podcast to talk about serious subjects. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to see if I am up to doing another episode. I'll do this as many nights as possible. There might be a night or two every now and then where I won't be able to do it, but at least all of you will get an idea. I don't have a set time yet. So what I'll do is I'll set the podcast up and give people a chance to join. And to remind all of you, each podcast is where the first 30 minutes it's just me, or if there's any co-host with me, we all talk about the subject, but then the last 30 minutes, you guys get to join us one at a time. There are things that we need to talk about. We need to cover over some hard subjects, very hard subjects that'll make people feel uncomfortable. And Tinfoil, I would like to thank you for today because you actually put me on the spot where I had to stop and think for quite a bit, and I love that
No
because
problem. I have my moments.
yeah, I need people like you and the others to put me in situations that I haven't been in. Because if there's ever a time when I am wrong, and believe me, there are plenty of those times, I'm willing to admit to it. The whole, does this make me look fat? Yeah, I will admit, that's a hard one. That would be a struggle for me. It's like, it's like, there has to be a good answer, but one that doesn't involve lying because I'm tired of sugarcoating everything. But luckily enough, my wife knows me to the point of that I'm blunt, but I love her. And so I hope this episode helps any one of you that are listening. Sometimes you have to cut people off from your life. You can do that and still forgive them. It's not a contradiction. You can forgive people and still not trust them. That's not a contradiction. Forgiveness means you lay it not to their charge. You don't feel any anger nor bitterness, but you're also smart enough to know that they're perfectly capable of hurting you again. So it's okay to have that wall up. Not all walls are bad, just some. That's why you gotta tear down some walls with some people and build up walls against the wrong people. By the way, Tinfoil, if I may ask, your profile pic is that you?
No.
Oh man, I almost got excited. It's like I get to see what tinfoil looks like.
Yeah, the glowing green syringe must have really give you a hint. It's me.
I can't see the syringe. But then again,
Really?
the pic is tiny.
That picture is a screenshot from a movie. Actor's name is Jeffrey Combs.
Okay, what's the name of the movie though?
The Reanimator.
I've never heard of it, so I'll look it up.
It's a very old horror flick.
I see.
Have you ever seen Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Jeffrey also played the Vorta in there.
No, I haven't seen that either.
No, either way,
That
Google him up. He's some sort of B-list horror legend.
Are you by any chance gonna be up around the same time tomorrow?
Yes, though that depends if I'll be able to be here, Statton, because I do have a scheduled D&D session.
That's awesome. Okay, you and I need to set up a time when we can discuss the subject that you brought to my attention earlier. And
Which one we talked?
the one in the
Quite a,
DMs.
again, there was a lot of stuff in the DMs. Could
The
you be more
latest
specific?
one. The let me pull it up.
Oh,
Yes.
the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be a doozy.
It is, but it's one that we do need to talk about. And but
Look,
I want you around when it is talked about. And the thing is I know some of the other co-hosts are gonna feel uncomfortable so about it. So it may just be have to be you and I to talk about it.
well, yeah, but then again, remember, I'm still hoping I'm gonna find out that this was reenacted, but because it's hard to believe that this particular topic was true. To
Well,
that extent, at least, it's just a little bit.
I tell you what, we'll do some last minute studying on it and find out. But
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. But then again, it's not like we claim that every single thing we say is fact. We're just stating our beliefs, our opinions, how we feel on things, and what we think about certain things. We're not looking at people and say, "Hey, what we say, you can't argue with us. It's fact." Although I should go back to the old heart to heart saying, "Welcome to the heart to heart with Statton, where feelings matter, but the facts come first." I haven't done that in forever.
Yes, true, but then again, according to that adherence to that topic and motto, we still have to check if that particular news cycle thing is actually a fact.
Right, you are. So let's do that after this podcast, which we're down to the last few minutes. So I guess it's time to wrap it up. But before I wrap it up, I'd like to do a quick advertisement here. This is brought to you by my Discord server called Statton's Mansion. I leave a link to it in the description of all my videos and the live streams. Also, Tinfoil, is there anything you would like to advertise?
No, not not off the top of my head though.
Okay. Well, with that said, I hope this helps all of you, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Tinfoil, go ahead and say goodbye to the viewers.
Night viewers, have a fun day or
And,
night, depending on the time zone.
and my name is Statton. Like, share, and subscribe. And you all have yourselves a wonderful day. And remember, you are not alone.